Hello, welcome friends and my lovely audience. The purpose to organize today webinar is that critical analyzing quality and safety of the Indian medicine as per international quality. As you know that, today it has been reported that more than 52 drugs comes under screening. Keeping all these in mind, this webinar is going to critically examine pressing issues surrounding medicines, quality, safety, and efficacy in light of recent concerns raised by the Central Drugs Standards Control Organization, which has identified, as I already said, paracetamol along with the 52 other drugs as NSQ of not of standard quality based on the random checking conducted by the state drug officers. To join this webinar, we have the galaxy of speakers like Dr. Ajay Phatak, he is a drug controller, government of Rajasthan, Dr. Ishwar Gilada, consultant in HIV study, Unicorn Medicare and Research Center, Mumbai. He is also President Emeritus AIDS Society of India. Dr. Amitav Banerjee is a Professor Emeritus, Dr. DY Particle Medical College and well-known public health expert. Dr. Ramesh K. Goyal is advisor to ITMU Medical Hospital, Baroda and former Vice Chancellor of Delhi Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research Universities. And Dr. Harvinder Popli is a Dean of Research, Innovation and International Affairs, Delhi Pharmaceutical Sciences and Research Universities, New Delhi. And today we have the very prominent personality in the medical fraternity, Dr. A.K. Goyal, means Arun Kumar Goyal. He is the advisor and clinical research Apollo Group of Hospital and also former Dean of the Maulana Azad Medical College. Now I hand over to Dr. Agarwal. Please go ahead for the moderating today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiwari. Good morning to all of you. Before I start, a very, very happy Diwali to all of us. And a very happy Diwali to our magazine, Double Helical, which in last 10 years has done wonders as regard conveying a very definite message to the society in their preventive health and curative in the sense all the topics covered are so important. Theoretically, I must congratulate you and all of you in front of me have contributed a lot for this magazine. It's my privilege that I am associated with this magazine. Right, so for today's topic, I think it is a very, very different type of topic and a very relevant topic in the sense that when we talk about the status of drugs being manufactured in India, you all know that India is supposed to be the pharmacy capital of the world. And later on, we'll come to know, I know one thing, that approximately 30 to 40% pharmaceutical production is in India. Maybe I'll stand corrected by any one of you. But at the same time, when we are already, of course, in the field of vaccine, we are the leaders. When we have projected ourselves as the key leaders as regards the provision of medicine, not only for our country, but for the entire globe. And I know it very well that in different continents, how people are dependent on us. So obviously, it becomes very important for us to provide them quality medicine. And that quality medicine is the subject of discussion today. You see, I always believe that if I try to bring 100% perfection, well, it is desirable, but it may not be possible 100%. Sometimes there may be fluctuation here. And that's why in different parameters of pharmaceutical production also there is some variations. But at the same time, when regularly when we find that during the routine testing and all, a good number of drugs are found that perhaps they are beyond the scope of use, then it's a very great setback to us, not only to us, but to the entire country, because perhaps the entire globe is looking towards us. And I must appreciate that our regulators, whether it is Drug Control General of India office or the state office of drug controller, are keeping a very, very vigilant eye, because drugs are being manufactured everywhere. Beyond that, our methodology of clinical trial, which has been developed in such a way that now it is so strong, so rigid. And I must say that in last 15, 20 years, uh, the globe is trying to copy the way we are trying to develop or have a control over the quality of medicine. So coming back, even then, if there is instance that there are 53 medicines which have been declared unfit, that is very shocking. What to do? It should not happen. Yes, I strongly feel that our strong, whatever is a goodwill we have created, it should not be affected. So I would like to start with my colleague, Dr. Ajay Pathak. Dr. Pathak, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ajay Pathak, for joining
Yes. Good morning to all.
me. Dr. Ajay Pathak is the drug controller of state of Rajasthan. So welcome to you. And I must, that, as I said, that I'm proud of my uh, umbrella office, Drug Control General of India, as well as all our state drug controller of different states, including Rajasthan and you, for having a good control, regulation. But I'd like to know your views. What is going wrong somewhere, and how it happens, and it should not happen. What are your views? Can you tell us in next 10 minutes and make us aware of? Dr.
Yes,
Pat.
sir. Yes, sir. Uh, Dr. Agarwal has rightly said
Yes.
that India is a global supplier of medicines, and it has marked his position during the COVID period. We have supplied COVID vaccines all corner across the world. So our quality issue, as being a regulator, we are very stringent in maintaining quality medicines at the level of manufacturer, as well as at the level of retailer, wholesaler level, as the distribution level also. And quality and safety is the main concern for regulator, because availability of quality medicines uh, plays important role in treating patient. But few days back, that CDSCO has declared some medicines declared not of standard, and issue was raised that whether our quality standards are not as per the norm. In this, I will like to clarify that in Drug and Cosmetic Act, there is a provision for standard of quality and drugs to be as per the schedule. If drugs vary in some aspects, then either it may be in description, it may be in case of dissolution, in case of disintegration, in case of assay, the drug declared as not of standard quality. And there are many reasons why the drugs being declared as not of standard quality. There are various factors that affect the quality of drugs, like in India, there are temperature variation from across the country. So temperature is the major factor that affect the quality of drug that has been manufactured and by the manufacturer, and they are supplied through a distribution chain. So in that case, sometimes temperature plays various key roles, and drugs which are thermolabile, they get affected and the quality of drugs get deteriorated. So in that case also, the drug declared not of standard. Sometimes drugs are hygroscopic in nature and they absorb the moisture and they get deteriorated. So in India, we are putting our best of efforts, and those drugs which have declared not of standard quality, we now identified them, manufacturers, and we conduct a risk-based inspections and identify the root cause of the not of standard declared drugs. And we try to give them guidance how to improve and what are the issues that affected the quality of drug, whether it is the in-process of the drug which affected the quality, or it was after manufacturing, it was the supply chain process where the quality of the drug has been affected. At the same time, like these drugs, more than 50, were declared not of standard, but we have to identify that how much samples were taken, how much declared standard quality, how much declared not of standard quality. Like if 3,000 samples of the drug has been tested and out of them 50 were declared not of standard, 50 plus, then it comes around 1.5% of the total samples drawn across the country. And whether the contents were grossly substandard or it was a minor defect, like some cases, most of the cases, there are a description fails in descriptions, or it disintegration or dissolution, it is a issue. Some minor issues, if it is fail, it can be rectified. But if case of major issues, if it fails in assay, then it is a great concern, and we used to conduct methodology develops to rectify that in future it should not be repeated, and we guide manufacturers to do needful so that Indian pharma market, which have scored very high value in international market, that should be maintained. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Phatak sir. I fully agree with you that as per the directions, as per the rules and regulations, and the organization of CDSO, the Control General, and various state bodies are very, very conscious about the quality of medicine. But I agree, India is a very big country, not only big geographically, but as you said, that there are places we have -0 temperature, there are places we have 50-degree temperature. At places we have totally dry air, at places we have 90% humidity. Obviously, such type of situation may not be there in some of the countries and smaller countries. If I try to compare it with European countries, well, they are geographically small, but God is kind to them. Whether it is good or bad, they are practically having less variation of temperature. But at the same time, I'm sure, Dr. Pathak, that you must be guiding them or instructing them to maintain a good cold chain throughout the process, right from manufacturing to the delivery and delivery to the patient. So we feel that, as regards you said, hygroscopic, it all depends upon the packaging. Am I correct? So nowadays, I understand from an outsider point of view, the packaging has improved a lot. But the cold chain, which we are dependent on the manufacturer, the distributor, where you feel is the issue, and how do you regulate?
Like good manufacturing practice, we follow at the manufacturer level. At the same time, good distribution network. It is again matter of great concern, and we are now focusing on this because cold chain and whatsoever the storage condition has been mentioned on the label of the drug, that should be followed. And for that, we are
Yes.
guiding manufacturer to maintain such type of training programs to their stockist level as well as retailer level, and as well as from the end of regulator, we also conduct some training programs to our retailers, wholesalers, and guide them how cold chain as well as storage conditions that affect the quality of drugs. Because sometimes some drugs that are thermolabile, retailers as always keep those drugs at the front counter. We guide them to please, this will affect the quality of drugs. So if you will keep it backside at dark place, the sun rays will not be there and the quality of the drug will not affected. By that way, we are guiding our manufacturer as well as retailers as well as wholesalers so that they adopt the good distribution uh, practice, so that cold chain as well as storage condition should not be affected by that. And we usually issues alert notice. The purpose of alert notice is to just uh, bring them which drugs are generally being declared not of standard, what are the reason, and how we can recall them. That is the also mechanism. So if drug has been declared not of standard, we take all measures to recall and call them at this manufacturer level, so that not of standard drug should not be uh, consumed by any consumer after declaration of not of standard. But if proper recall mechanism is not adopted and drug found at the level of stockist or at the level of retailer, we usually seize them and make prosecutions against such a manufacturer as well as traders. This is the practice we.
You mean to say there has to be some sort of alert on their part. That is very important. Patil sir, I think the signal from his side was a bit weak. Doesn't matter. Uh, in absence of Dr. Pathak, I think I would like to proceed to my next honorable panelist, and that is Dr. Ishwar Gilda. Dr. Ishwar Gilda is consultant in HIV STD Unicorn Medicare and Research Center, Mumbai, President Emeritus, AIDS Society of India. And I was going through his profile. He is really a, person who has contributed a lot for the society. Dr. Ishwar, what you feel about this subject from your angle?
Thank you very much for having me on this program, which is very important and crucial. Firstly, I would like to highlight the good points of India. I have been traveling to African countries almost 25 years, where almost 25 years before, Indian medicines were considered as a dirt, cheap, and useless. And with a great campaign, we could create that kind of confidence in African countries that though we are at 1% of international cost, we are almost 100% equivalence in bioequivalence and quality and results. Secondly, we are at a crossroad where we were chairing G20 countries. We would like to be part of G7, making it G8. We are pharma capital of the world. At such time, we should maintain utter good standard of medicine through good manufacturing practices. So there are some basic flaws. For example, the one flaw, when you distribute a list of not of standard medicine, you should specify A, B, C, which is not of standard for some kind of reason like hygroscopic or heat, or which has got impurities and which are spurious. The second and third category is not acceptable. First category is okay. So in health science communication, what we have seen in last 20, 30 years, that we are all so eager to produce something and put it in public domain. So if something happens, that new drug coming in Lancet and that is reported in Times of India next day, and patients start calling us, sir, wo medicine kab aa raha hai? That medicine may not come for the next 5 to 10 years. So we should have that filter out mechanism. On the CDSCO site also, they should not name and shame every Tom, Dick, Harry that this is poor quality. There are some issues, you directly deal with them. Don't put it in public domain because that is shaming our country also. It is not only shaming that particular manufacturer. Number two, there are some spurious drugs which are manufactured in the name of that particular company, but not manufactured by that company. So companies disown that this doesn't belong to us. This is not acceptable. And where the CDSCO or FDAs should come in action very heavily. Now, when we talk about the structure of CDSCO and FDA, when you talk about a drug, which is a medicinal drug, I'm not talking about recreational drug. So medicinal drugs, they are under two ministries. One is chemicals and fertilizers because they obtain chemical to make drug. Then they are under health ministry because CDSCO is under health ministry. For the first time, we have a central minister who is minister for both ministries. So this is a good time to amalgamate some things and make a very standard medicine. Number two, CDSCO makes rules. They have to be implemented by FDA, and that is called Food and Drug Administration. Now this is the Diwali season. There's a lot of adulteration in ghee and milk and mithai. So all these FDA officers are busy in those things. They are not busy in maintaining drug standard. And the officers are limited. Per district is one officer only. So there is a perennial shortage of FDA inspectors and officers. And you cannot combine food and drug together. Whatever mechanism you do, you have to do bifurcation because their major interest will be in food because there are a lot of food supply chain managements and then they can make a lot of impact. Either if they want to make money, they can make money because there are a lot of people. But in the drug administration, there should be different people. Thirdly, when we talk about the responsibility of FDAs, there are over-the-counter sales. Over-the-counter, firstly, I would like to go in patent and generic. A lot of people do not understand what is generic. So patented is only one company making that particular patented product. But generics are three types of generics. So one is a branded generic. One is a generic division of that particular company making that generic. For example, Cipla can make amlodipine in two names. One is from Cipla and one is Osaka Pharma. The Osaka belongs to Cipla only. To just have a good sale and put a very low cost, they put two different. So that is generic, branded generic and generic division generic. And third one is from a Bombay market, which is very famous called Bombay market. They are available is a pharmaceutical name, paracetamol or amlodipine or those things. All these drugs are good. I'm not going in the quality of the drug, but people do not understand and then they start bashing every generic. So I think we should make that. Thirdly, there is a lot of a buffer margin between a written price and an available price. sometimes the buffer margin is 90%. When you make that 90% buffer margin in a particular drug, the chemist or the local shop, they would like to sell those things where there's a more margin, because everybody knows that 16% is a wholesale margin, 8% is a retail margin, 24% will give you 20% discount, but they are making still 70-80% money. So I think they should come down heavily on this buffer kind of pricing. Earlier, the system was that the on the MRP, the price was the tax was charged on MRP. Now the system is charging on billing. So if the MRP was charged as a tax, then people were worried, will be unnecessarily paying tax on 100 rupees when we are selling for 10 rupees. So I think we should look at that issue. DPCO, when they come in pricing, recently we have seen that some of the drugs manufacturers said, "No, we don't want to manufacture these drugs." So they cannot maintain that low cost just because DPCO want it. So I think we should be rationalized everywhere, and we should not tolerate anything which is spurious, anything which is in somebody else's name or misrepresenting some company. They should be jailed forthwith. On international standards, we always fight, no, no, India is best. But when it comes to, it's like a story of monkey. It goes 10 feet up, 5 feet down. It never reaches the height. We would like to reach that height where nobody can beat us. And in that sense, we have to work comprehensively. We need doctors community, we need pharma community, we need DPCO, we need CDSCO, we need ministry, we need officials. But what happens is, whenever there is no problem, doctor and pharma companies are chore. When there's a problem, Doctor Bhagwan. As soon as the problem goes, doctor is shaitan. I think this kind of double standard of approach, expecting every doctor, every pharma company to be very pious, they are really very moral, we cannot expect. We should not have allowed the commercialization of medical education in that sense. We should not allow paid seats for medical colleges. So we allowed that, then it is going to happen. So I think we should have proper approach, and we should look at get suggestions from people. Everybody has something to offer. Implement on those suggestions. But unfortunately, in this country, last 20, almost 20, 25 years, the intellectuals have no value. The professionals have no value. You keep on writing to ministries, nothing happens. And I remember those days, almost 40 years before, even if I write a letter to Indira Gandhi, I used to get letter from Indira Gandhi or Rajiv Gandhi. Now that those things are not there. So I think we are not giving importance to the intellectuals who can contribute in building up of the country's standard. And I think in this sense also, country can definitely build a standard if we, and they are, you, me, or everybody, we are not expecting any money, any fee or anything if you want suggestion from us. So why not act on those things which are freely available from a quality of people? And I think we should act very heavily on impurities and spurious medicine. Standard of drug, yes, they can be arm twisted, they can be told to do it this properly, but don't name and shame them on public website. Because as soon as you put a public website, big pharma companies involved, how are they involved? They say that this is not manufactured by our company, somebody else, but putting our name or some standard of 2%, 3% problem is there. But we should not do that. That harms the company's reputation. Not only that, that harms the country's reputation. What do you?
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Gilda. Just a comment before I come to the actual topic. You know, your name is Dr. Ishwar Gilda, and I have a couple of my friends who are also a Dr. Ishwar. So I don't call them Dr. Ishwar, I call them Hey Ishwar. So the moment I call them Hey Ishwar, I automatically remember God. So I appreciate your comment. I appreciate your passion, right? And of course, quality, quality, and quality. You cannot compromise the quality. There are rules and regulations, but those rules are there to improve the quality, and the self-conscience of the manufacturer has to be to give the best possible. Here, there cannot be any compromise. Of course, in food industry also, there cannot be any compromise. But in the field of medicine, if there is a compromise beyond limit, then I think it's a crime. And we'll come back to you, Dr. Ishwar. And now we switch over to our colleague, a great clinician, Dr. Amitav Banerjee, who is Professor Emeritus at D.Y. Patil Medical College, Pune. And by virtue of his keen clinical interest, he is a great public health personality also, and been associated with us in various meetings and with this magazine for a long time. So, Dr. Amitav, as a clinician, when the patient comes to you and जैसे उन्होंने कहा कि भगवान डॉक्टर भगवान है और कुछ गड़बड़ हो गई तो डॉक्टर शैतान है, तो उसमें अल्टीमेटली पेशेंट का तो ताल्लुक है वो तो डॉक्टर के साथ ही, राइट? उसको इस चीज से वरी नहीं है कि दवा कहाँ से मिली, कैसे मिली. So now you are worried about the outcome of the treatment you have prescribed, right? So as clinician, what are your views on?
Thank you, Dr. Agarwal. I am more of a primary care clinician or primary health care. Being a public health person, I have an interface as a general practitioner, one can say. And then as an epidemiologist and as a social medicine person, and then I have been chairing some ethical committees. So the doctor is at the interface with the patient. And that is the downstream, I said. हम downstream की तरफ ही देख रहे हैं. अगर दवाई, if the medicine is of poor quality, the outcome is bad. It is the doctor who is litigated, and nowadays there are violence against doctors also. But there is a whole chain. You have to see upstream also, from the manufacturer, drug manufacturer, pharmaceuticals, and drug manufacturer is also a big challenge in quality control, because they are getting their raw products from different manufacturers who may not be, so raw materials are getting, and that quality control in a large country, we have got a very big challenge because we do not have adequate infrastructure and drug inspectors to inspect all the these products. So recently, the India came into negative publicity because of the major tragedies, which I can think maybe the tip of the iceberg. In 2022, there were 60 deaths of children from cough syrup in Gambia, and that was traced to diethyl glycol, and then subsequently within a few months another Uzbekistan number of children died. So this gives a very bad publicity. And even during the COVID time, we did supply vaccines at haste, but unfortunately even Brazil turned down the supplies of Covaxin because of quality issues, maybe political, maybe otherwise. So we have to, I mean, it's all very well to say that we are a pharma of the world. We are the pharma of the world, but with that goes a great responsibility to maintain the quality standards. And another problem is that we may be having number of Cosmetics Act, Drugs Act, but the deterrence is not adequate. The punishments, how many people have been convicted, how many people have been put behind jail, that can also give an idea how soft we are on taking stringent action. And recently, there are certain legislation which are maybe of little concern, which gives that we are becoming more lenient. That recently, 2023, the Jan Viswas Bill was passed, in which the section 27D of the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940, there was an amendment to make a provision of compounding. That is, instead of going to jail, if the drug is of not standard quality, the manufacturer can pay the fine and get away with it. So this is, I think this requires debate. It may be, on one hand, we want to increase, we want to promote business, but it should not be at the cost of quality. And then regarding this diethyl glycol, this can be an indicator that all is not well with our regulatory agencies, because historically the first case of diethyl glycol poisoning and deaths occurred in 1937 in the USA, and the USA took very stringent actions. And in fact, the chief scientist of that company committed suicide. admitting that it was a mistake of using diethyl glycol. It is an industrial solvent, and unfortunately in India we are having the regular issues of diethyl glycol, and now we are having the diethyl glycol poisoning in exported drugs to Gambia and Uzbekistan. So this may be the tip of the iceberg. This is the extreme case where children died because they are vulnerable, but maybe substandard drugs may be causing subclinical harms to patients in the long run. We don't know. And another problem is we do not have a proper pharmacovigilance system. We don't have a monitoring after the drug is in the market. And a lot of generic drugs of varying qualities are coming, generic or branded generic, and they have got various prices, and the quality control can be very difficult. So there is a challenge. And we were talking of diethyl glycol. Madras, there was a 15 children died in 1972. Mumbai, 1986. 14 patients died in a prestigious JJ hospital. And I would just like to just read out from a commission of inquiry under Justin Bhaktawar Lentin in 1986. He made a 300-page report, and he inducted lot of top officials who were suspended, including the Joint Commissioner of FDA, Health Minister, senior officials and senior doctors were suspended. And the summary, one paragraph summary of his 300-page report is very, very disturbing. I mean, he says in his words, these pages describe and illustrate the ugly face of the human mind and human nature, projecting errors of judgment that we want to gloss over, misuse of ministerial power, a lot of political influence is also there, and authority, apathy towards human life. Apathy is very, very prevalent in our society. Corruption, nexus, and quid pro quo between unscrupulous license holders, analytical laboratories, elements in the industries department, controlling the awarding of rate contracts, manufacturers, traders, merchants, suppliers, the FDA, and persons holding ministerial rank. None of this will be palatable to the affected quarters, but that cannot be helped. Actually, now this is in 1986, we have to do introspection ki whether we have taken care of these things. We have at the downstream, as I said, at the interface of the doctor-patient, we have made a code of conduct of doctors that they will not be sponsored by pharmaceutical industries. They will not attend conference, they will not attend tours, they will not attend packages and other things. But upstream, what is the situation upstream? There is no quality control, there is no check of the pharmaceutical lobbying upstream, pharmaceutical lobbying of ministers, pharmaceutical lobbying of policymakers. And now we have got the electoral bonds also, which was disclosed. Large number of pharmaceuticals have given heavy electoral bonds to all the political parties. It's all the political parties. That means there is always gloss over the setbacks, and just until unless we recognize the problem, we cannot. And we do require more drug inspectors, we do require more strict vigilance, we do require pharmacovigilance, we do require strict Qanun. On the other hand, we are making the law more lenient. So these are some of the things which require debate at the highest level. Thank you.
Thank you. I think it's such a wonderful, eye-opening your perception about the whole situation. And I agree that perhaps you have gone into depth of the present as well in the past. And I appreciate that you are perhaps, you have given a practical solution. What should be done? What should be done? So we'll come back to you. I think now I will like to hand over to Dr. Ramesh Goyal, our friend, the Dean of Pharmaceutical Science, who had been Vice Chancellor of a couple of universities, sorry, and of MS University Vadodara and Vice Chancellor of Delhi Pharmaceutical Science Research University, and nowadays is advisor in Gujarat. And
Thank you.
Dr. Ramesh Goyal.
Thank you, sir.
Are you
Thank
there?
you very much. First of all, I'd like
Only
to...
thing I would like to know from you. You are
Yes.
the
Okay.
the science, you know it right from the beginning. How holistically we should approach.
Okay.
That is the most important.
Okay. First, I would like to congratulate and compliment Dr. Mr. Tiwari and Arun Agarwal sir for giving such a wonderful thing. And I mean, see, normally debates are for something else, but this is something which is purely from the point of view of social welfare. Well, I will begin with what Dr. Ajay Patak told, that the regulations in India are definitely strong. There is no question about that. And even the whatever limitations may be there, number of drug inspectors may be less, but still the impact is there of the Drug Control Authority. I will just in a figures, there are 2,871 formulations and with the associated with 47,000, I mean almost close to 50,000 now, brands. So for every drug, there is 17 brands. Now it's a huge task, and India is placed number 3 in terms of volume, although maybe around 10 to 13 it fluctuates. The quality, I mean, from the point of view of the value of the drugs. Certainly, India is having good regulations, but at the same time, what pointed out by Dr. Ishwar, that there are some practical problems, and very nicely spelled out environmental. But now, from my point of view, if I have analyzed what has the, like these 52 brands. Now, I will not like to name anyone, neither the drug, but first thing is that the rules are stringent, that, and these alerts are not one time. It is every month there are alerts. Only thing, it is all of a sudden 52. That's why it is became, and there must be some vested interest also that it became a hype rather than becoming that. See, what important was what pointed out by Dr. Amitav ji, that the syrup, cup syrup, it really made the government to change the rules also, that now the distribution and even the quality maintenance is the responsibility of the manufacturer. They have to see that quality standards also. So this is the new change which has come. So there are regulations. So now when it comes to these different conditions on which they were held, not qualified for standard, I mean, not of the up to the standard. One of them was the label descriptions also. There may be some mismatch in that and what is there inside. Yes, it is a very strict. So that speaks at how strict is the drug regulators. Dissolution, yes, it makes a difference. But something like, I will just, one of the drug was the Voglibos. Now, if the disintegration is changed, it's definitely going to have a clinical impact also. Now, what I'm trying to tell is that there may be a clinical impact in affecting the public health. Now, mismatch, yes, it can be corrected. And let me tell, our regulations are not just a regulator, they are facilitators also. I've seen, like last week only I attended, I was a speaker in a program where there is a training to the retail pharmacists. So that even for manufacturing, from time to time, such programs are organized. And when Rajasthan took the lead in the rational drug use, yes, it was some of the step further. So many things are done, but yes, the disturbance do come. So dissolution, it make a difference in some drugs. So alerts are given, but it should not be made hype in the public that, okay, this is the, it may not be applicable. It may be a sub-training program there. Disintegration, like for the Voglibos, it was like that. pH variation, yes, it is really having the, for all quality is there, compromise, no question. But one which goes in the public has to be something wherein a patient has to think, wherein a doctor has to think that, okay, this brand has to be, we have to be careful. Like that, the one of the thing was the related substance is present. Let me tell you what has recently come out after the ranitidine, the nitrosamine, and causing cancer. Limits are set, but the limit, how much limit can really produce a problem, it is important. And such things should be made hype, not every Tom and Jerry slight presence and all that should not be made hype. So it is the responsibility of the media also. It is the responsibility of the politicians also, that not what to allow hype and what to not allow the hype of the public. In the public domain, you may put it, but when it comes to newspapers and all, just to get a publicity, and that has to be curbed somehow. It has to be a responsibility, civil responsibility, that no, we should not mislead the public by giving such things. So this is something which I have, like even sterility problem in sodium lactate, one of the thing, and in the cefuroxime, there was something like even the absorbent cotton, the sterility problem was there. Yes, that is a serious thing. That yes, sterility can affect the patient like hell. I mean, quality will definitely make a difference, but certain parameters are really can create a big difference. Such has to be monitored. Even for the, like it was told by Professor Dr. Phatak sir, that environmental hygroscopic. See, stability test, there is a rigorous tests required. Stability testing, pH and the temperature, it is there, but still the extreme conditions can occur. That is also there, but training programs and all. And it is, as I told you, regulators are facilitators also. They want to, they are for the corrective measures to be taken. But what happens is when it goes to public, there is a totally different feeling. Like the last, one of the very important things is that essay failure. Now 10%, like if it is a 100 milligram tablet, if it is 90 or 110, or when we used to do a bioequivalence, 20% means 80 to 125 milligram will be allowed. It is permissible. But slightly, I mean, now if 90 becomes 88 or 125 becomes 127, oh, it's a failure. It will be declared, but again, such things where it is more important. Anti-diabetics, anti-hypertensives. I remember if the assay failure occurs, if there is something wrong, it may, phenytoin, for example, epilepsy, very dangerous if slight changes there. So those which are having low therapeutic index, what we call in our pharmacological term, there, if the hype is made or awareness, this is, I will say it is a public awareness program to be very careful with that. That is what is important. I will like to add one last thing, and then I will make few creations that I was in Canada. There was one doctor himself. He was practicing also. He was taking simple enalapril, and it was of Pfizer. And his blood pressure was not coming. All of a sudden, there was some change, and I was present at that time. I told what the drug? I told that can you change this strip itself? You purchase another strip of the enalapril. I said, no, it is a Pfizer. It cannot be wrong. I said, sir, please, I'm requesting you. Just change the batch number only. Take up the other batch. And believe me, it got corrected. See, it may happen in anything. It is not an Indian company or particular company. It can happen with anything. Just one batch, probably a few things, but it makes a difference. So such programs, if they are made and such things are done, probably there has to be like alerts of which type. Like in our clinical trial, we have adverse event, severe adverse event, SAEs. So we have to differentiate also. That is what is my feeling, that alerts, when it is put in the domain, there can be hot process, debate. Dr. Phatak sir can think of giving that. And a change can be there that, okay, these things should be highlighted. So in the end, I will conclude that yes, those quality parameters, if they are of serious concern, which can change something very seriously, should be highlighted. So news may be there. It can be serious. I mean, it should not be made sensational to everything. That is what is my first thing. Second thing is that, yes, there should be awareness, but to what? A slight change that is not, which is not going to, maybe they will be alert, they may be told, they will be told about that. And third, commercial angle also. I remember the story of glibenclamide. Just to put that glibenclamide cell down and metformin up, the company, it is a story of 70s, I will not have time to do that. And then it turned out to be there that yes, glibenclamide was is affecting heart. Nobody was believing, but commercial angle was there. But later on, even that also came into picture, and metformin became blockbuster also. Also, all those things are there, good also, but one has to be careful. So, in conclusion, I will say, make hype or public domain information little sensed carefully, and even the media also should be careful in highlighting. That is what is my feeling, rather than just for everything go in the public and popularity. That is what is my conclusion. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ramesh Goyal. I think it is very important. It is one platform where the users means the medical persons of various categories, but at the same time the industry. So, I mean, there has to be a phenomena where all these important three platforms should be together, right? The idea is to improve and improve and improve rather than finding fault with each other. That is very important. I think now we have been joined by Tiwari ji.
Dr. Harvinder Popli.
Dr. Popli, can you hear us?
Are you getting
Dr.
me,
Harvinder
Ajay?
Popli?
Ma'am, you have unmuted your mobile. Please mute. Hello. Hello.
Dr. Popli, where are
you getting?
you? I just now I saw you.
Yes, now we cannot hear. Can you unmute yourself first? Then only we can hear you.
Dr.
Are we audible? Ma'am, are we audible?
Please
Hello.
unmute yourself.
You unmute, please. Unmute.
Please unmute. Yes.
Now talk.
It's okay.
Please speak something. We can't hear you.
Hello.
Dr. Pop.
Dr. Popli, please disconnect and join it again. Maybe then you will be getting the audio settings also.
Okay, your voice is not coming out. Please join. First switch off and then join. Rejoin. Hello.
No.
Hello.
Unmute first.
In the meanwhile,
Dr. Popli, can you unmute yourself?
Dr. Agarwal, go to the next person in the meanwhile.
Yes. No. That is the end. That's the end. Dr. Popli, can you hear me? I think we are not able to connect with him.
Voice is not coming out. Kindly join.
Yes.
Unmute yourself.
वो कर चुकी हैं अनम्यूट कर चुकी हैं तिवारी जी, उसके बावजूद भी उनकी आवाज नहीं आ रही।
अभी आ रही है आवाज सर?
नहीं आ रही है।
ये व्हाट्सएप कॉल में ले लीजिए, नहीं तो तिवारी जी।
नहीं चलो। अच्छा तिवारी जी, इस बीच कोई क्वेश्चंस हैं तिवारी जी?
है, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही मैम,
वो व्हाट्सएप में आप स्पीकर में डाल दीजिए ना तिवारी जी, उनका व्हाट्सएप कॉल के।
Hearing on the WhatsApp. Hello. It's on. Already on है.
Probably not, giving that connect. So I can speak on a WhatsApp.
Now
I think now we can hear you on WhatsApp. Can you hear us, Dr.
Yeah, I can
Popli?
hear.
Now we are.
Okay. Dr. Popli, thank you for joining us. Can you, in brief, give your views about this particular problem? You are a great teacher of this particular science. You have been there as dean and whatnot. So what do you feel? Ultimate aim is to improve the quality medicines to our public. A
Yes,
quick comment from your side.
Yeah. I will be hearing, everyone. So basically what I wanted to say is that when we talk about quality and safety of medicines in India, there are a lot of challenges which are still listed, like counterfeit medicine, substandard medicines, lack of regulatory oversight, inadequate manufacturing practices, insufficient quality control measures. Besides that, weak supply chain. And also, I think Dr. Banerjee touched about corruption and nexus between regulators and government. But I think, we have to find a solution. So futures being is that with the implementation of track and trace system, and which is been happening now, worldwide, and definitely a strengthening of regulatory sectors. There is a need to enhance the quality control laboratory by, increasing penalties for a non-compliances. And right from a university, I think, we need to promote, which is very, very essential. And the reporting of ADR, pharmacovigilance, which we have started in a small way. But, we have a lot of stakeholders, mainly the government, which also needs to take action. The industry needs to adopt the GMP. The healthcare professionals, need to report basically the ADRs. And at the same
You
time,
made a strong pharmacovigilance.
the patients, yeah, there. About the patient rights. So, these are the biggest things I wanted to say. So, we have to meet these challenges of the regulation. But when we talk about the patient technology, which in the future will bring more of the challenge, like the patient portals, lot of mobile health system. There are telemedicine platforms, wearable devices coming up of the AI in healthcare, blockchain for the healthcare. So I think future, while we are handling issues, but the patient literacy, the healthcare training, the future. And if I talk about statistics, now India accounts for the 10% of the global population, and the 50% of our export. So 30% is also controlled by the multinational. And when we talk about the patient-centric approach, so definitely they're getting to strengthen the regulations and also the promote the transparency, which is very, very important. So I think right from the beginning, focus on a training, at the graduate level and the postgraduate, which will take them in a long way.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Popli, for your valuable comments. Tiwari ji?
Yes, sir.
I don't think we have time for any question. You can take hardly one question if you have. Do you have any question?
This question goes to Dr. Ajay Phatak. Sir,
Yes.
you are drug controller of state of the Rajasthan. Could you tell me what are parameters to judge the quality of the medicine for a layman guy? सपोज अगर कोई आदमी दुकान पे जाता है, उसको कैसे पता होगा जो हमें दवाइयां मिल रही हैं वो उसमें क्वालिटी की बेहतरता कितनी है?
देखिए
इट्स
क्वालिटी,
अ वेरी रेलेवेंट एंड अ वेरी ब्रॉड बेस्ड क्वेश्चन। जैसे आप जाते हैं मिठाई खाने के लिए तो उससे कहते हैं थोड़ा टेस्ट करा दे, कहते हैं ना। आई विश द सेम प्रोसीजर शुड हैव देयर, लेकिन दैट इज
ये
नॉट
गांव
पॉसिबल।
खास करके रूरल एरिया में यहाँ तक कि अर्बन एरिया में प्रॉब्लम है कि हम जो दवाइयां ले रहे हैं, अब सिप्रा कंपनी की कोई अलग क्वालिटी है, अगर एल्केम की
इसका
अलग है, तो
जवाब
कैसे
तो उससे
justify
पहले कि आई थिंक इट्स अ क्वेश्चन ऑफ it's a question of having faith on our system. Our system has been created pan India where we are looking into quality right from the beginning, and we presume that any manufacturer who has got the product up to the counter, that manufacturer has given us all sorts of best quality product, and that is what it's a question of faith.
Yes.
And
Dr.
of
Patil,
course,
please.
ऐसा
Phatak
है
sir,
कि ऐसे कोई पैरामीटर्स एक आम नागरिक के लिए नहीं है कि वो कोई दुकान पे जाए और वो दवाई की गुणवत्ता के बारे में सुनिश्चित कर सके कि भाई ये सभी जो पैरामीटर्स है, क्योंकि जो पैरामीटर्स है वो टेस्टिंग लेबोरेटरी में ही टेस्ट करने के बाद में उसकी गुणवत्ता की सुनिश्चितता की जा सकती है कि ये स्टैंडर्ड क्वालिटी है या नहीं है। एक अब आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जरूर सिस्टम डेवलप हुआ है जिसके तहत उससे गन से आप उसको कर सकते हैं, लेकिन वो मोबाइल टेस्टिंग लेबोरेटरीज के अंदर अवेलेबल है, एक आम नागरिक के लिए नहीं है। आम नागरिक के लिए तो यह है कि वह जब भी दवा खरीदे वह बिल की डिमांड जरूर करे, क्योंकि बैच नंबर जो होता है वो उसकी लाइफलाइन होती है। अगर कोई दवाई की गुणवत्ता में अगर फेल होता है तो उस रिटेलर या होलसेलर या उस कंपनी के मैन्युफैक्चरर उसको तभी बुक किया जा सकता है जब उसके अंदर एक आम नागरिक के द्वारा बिल की मांग करे, उसकी स्टोरेज कंडीशन की वो करे, उसके अलावा स्टोरेज उसके अंदर एसी और इस तरह का उसमें इंस्टॉल हो जिसके अंदर दवाई की जो गुणवत्ता है उसकी वह सुनिश्चितता कर सके। यही पैरामीटर्स के लिए मैं कहूंगा कि आम नागरिक को अवेयर करने की आवश्यकता है।
वन मोर पैरासीटामोल को लेकर जो भी सस्पेंस पैदा हो रखा है उसको लेके आप क्या कहें? व्हाट वुड यू लाइक टू से अबाउट द पारा में, वेदर दे टेक और नॉट?
नहीं, पैरासीटामोल के जिस तरह से हो रखा है वो लाइट सेंसिटिव ड्रग है, उसके उसमें अगर वो दवाई सब स्टैंडर्ड डिक्लेयर हुई है या डिस्क्रिप्शन में फेल हुई है तो वो ऐसा कोई मेजर वो नहीं है जिसके लिए उसको एक संशय या दवाई की गुणवत्ता के लिए वो कॉज किया जाए।
Doctor sir,
sorry to interrupt you, sir. Dr. Pathak, may I request a quick answer, or maybe you can consider it as a suggestion. सर, जैसे आपने बोला कि लेबोरेटरी में एआई या इस तरह की चीजों से क्वालिटी टेस्ट करते हैं, कैन वी पुट और कैन वी मेक अ मैंडेट कि जब भी वो दवा का रैपर प्रिंट होगा उस पे कहीं पे एक छोटा सा काइंड ऑफ रेटिंग, लेट्स से 4.57, 4.5, 4.9 समथिंग, कुछ इस तरह से कर सकते हैं जिससे आम जनता को वो देख के थोड़ा क्लैरिटी हो जाए कि क्वालिटी अच्छी है।
नहीं, अभी तो ये ऐसे पैरामीटर्स उसके अंदर नहीं है, लेकिन आपका सजेशन है तो इसको आगे हम हायर अथॉरिटीज के उसमें रखेंगे, डीसीसी, और उसमें अगर पॉसिबल होगा तो उसको इस चीज पे ध्यान देंगे।
Doctor sir,
तिवारी जी,
ये डॉक्टर अग्रवाल, प्लीज गो अहेड।
तिवारी जी,
जी,
जी प्लीज, अब हमारे पास टाइम का वो है।
there is, there are so many now, clinics and, chemist shops which are selling these generic medicines. They are called Jan Aushadhi Kendra. So how can one be how can a common person be sure that the medicines that he is getting from these Jan Aushadhi Kendras are of high quality? Because there is already concern about branded medicine. So in this scenario, when the government is promoting Ayushman Bharat, and so many these kendras are opening everywhere. So how would you like? Is there any mechanism, or is there like there are so many unknown manufacturers which are producing these drugs which are available in these Jan Aushadhi Kendras? So how to know that how to
जी
ascertain that
पाठक
the
जी
quality is there?
ठीक है
ऐसा है
पाठक
कि
जी हाँ
जो मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का प्रोसेस है उसके अंदर डिफरेंट स्टेप्स के ऊपर उसका क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस और उसका टेस्टिंग प्रोसेस किया जाता है, और फाइनल जब कोई भी ड्रग रिलीज की जाती है तब मैन्युफैक्चरर के द्वारा उसके सारे टेस्टिंग प्रोटोकॉल्स पे अगर वो स्टैंडर्ड होती है तभी उसको रिलीज किया जाता है। और जहां तक ये प्रधानमंत्री जन औषधि केंद्र के बारे में आपका है, तो उसके अंदर प्रोक्योरमेंट एजेंसी भी जब दवाई खरीदती है तो वो वहां पर उसके वापस से रीटेस्ट करती है कि वह जो मैन्युफैक्चरर के द्वारा रिलीज किया हुआ बैच उस क्वालिटी का है या नहीं है। उसको इंश्योर करने के बाद ही डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नेटवर्क चैनल के ऊपर वो प्रधानमंत्री जन औषधि केंद्र पे वो सेल के लिए अवेलेबल होती है। हमारे राजस्थान स्टेट के अंदर भी मुख्यमंत्री निशुल्क दवा योजना स्कीम है, उसके अंदर भी हमारा जो प्रोक्योरमेंट एजेंसी है राजस्थान मेडिकल सर्विस कॉर्पोरेशन, जब भी कोई दवाई प्रोक्योर करता है उसको वापस से वो रीटेस्ट करते हैं अपने अप्रूव्ड लेबोरेटरी से, और लेबोरेटरी से पास होने के बाद ही वो कोई दवाई वापस से डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन नेटवर्क में आती है। तो आप इस चीज से बिल्कुल अश्योर रहें कि जो भी दवाई जन औषधि केंद्र पे मिल रही है वो उसकी मैन्युफैक्चरर के द्वारा टेस्टिंग रिपोर्ट जारी करने के बाद में वो वापस से रीटेस्ट होती है और उसके बाद वो आम जन नागरिक को उपलब्ध होती है।
थैंक यू। आई थिंक ये बात बहुत
Dr.
इम्पोर्टेंट है जी तिवारी जी। ये बात
Yeah,
डेफिनेट है कि गवर्नमेंट ने एक सिस्टम क्रिएट कर रखा है, और वो सिस्टम ऐसा है कि जिसमें कि all the testing and every procedure being undertaken before the drug is released for the common person, right? And of course, as a responsible citizen, as a responsible manufacturer, it is our duty to maintain practically each and every standard.
yes, sir.
So it is, I think, पाठक साहब ने जो कहा, अपनी तरफ से all regulators in the country are doing their best, और equally importance हमारी भी है एज ए मैन्युफैक्चरर कि हम इसके बारे में सोचें कि हाउ criminal it is if they want to release the spurious drug to the market. This is absolutely, and our regulators are very, very concerned. And of course, as being pointed out, that perhaps there is shortage of manpower, etc. But vigilance on such part should be increased, and the more and more manpower is desirable, as well as the medical profession को भी बहुत रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि वो फार्माकोविजिलेंस को जरूर एक टारगेट करें, और हम हर डॉक्टर की ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, जबकि ये लोग नहीं करते हैं। गवर्नमेंट हैज क्रिएटेड so many provision so that any doctor can provide feedback regarding, there are centers, there are sites. So, I mean, with this comment, I would like to say thanks to all my learned speakers, panelists for giving such a wonderful thought. This topic is there, which will perhaps continue to be discussed more and more, but at the same time, it would require a more confidence among the users, the regulators, and sometimes the common man should also be there to discuss, and the regulators and manufacturers. So thank you very much, all my colleagues, for giving your valuable time in Sunday morning. A very happy Diwali to all of you. Tiwari, back to you, and we'll meet again.
Yes, wishing you all the best for all the speakers from my side, and we will meet again for the good topics. And your blessing is required. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all, and wish you happy Diwali to all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Wish you
Phatak
happy
sir.
Diwali. Thank you and wish you
Thank
happy
you.
Diwali also.
Thank you,
Same
sir.
to you,
Namaskar.
sir.
Dr. Gilada,